everybody out there in Atlanta, it's Chris from HHN.com with another exciting episode of My Talking Head. Well, we had another announcement this week. I warned you last week that the announcement might be coming sooner than you think. And of course, we had 2 scare zones announced today. The last 2 scare zones, 5 scare zones in total this year, of course. The last 2 scare zones are IPs. Now, let's start with the one that I am not as thrilled about. Or not thrilled is a harsh word. The one that I'm not as hard up on as probably some other people are. And that is Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Now, for those people who don't know what Killer Klowns from Outer Space is, it is this 80s movie that deals with clowns, aliens disguised as clowns, or they are clowns. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. I can't remember if they were disguising themselves as clowns or if they were clowns from another planet. I can't remember. Obviously, the premise is wacky and it's weird, and it's turned into this sort of cult, sort of 80s status movie. And a lot of people really love this thing. Now, I saw this, the first time I saw this was back in high school when somebody suggested it to me. And I was not a fan. I did not like this movie at all. I mean, like, obviously it's bad and it's got this so bad it's good quality and, you know, people love it for that nature. This movie is just not my cup of tea. Now, since I first saw it in high school, I've actually seen it a couple of times, about maybe 4 or 5 times. It's not one of these movies that I watch all the time. I haven't seen it in quite a while, so maybe now that this is announced, go back and I'll take a gander at it again after giving it some time. But I don't know. This movie never really sat well with me. It never really sat well with me as sort of like a cult thing or so bad it's good movie. I'm just not a huge fan of Killer Klowns. Now, I know this particular property is something that the diehard fans have wanted to see come to the event for quite some time. They love this property, or at least most of them love this property. It's a really goofy property. It actually lends itself good to a house. It's kind of got that zany sort of vibe quality to it that, you know, people... Hi, Lexi. What are you doing back there, Lexi? My sister...
I'm not the down there. Don't go down there.
My sister is crawling in the background. Anyway, so it's got like this sort of zany quality to it, and you know, people. It sort of it could very well be a you know, an original Halloween Horror Nights house. You know, we had Giggles and Gore, which was some might say a little bit of a Killer Klowns inspired house, not directly related to Killer Klowns, obviously, but sort of inspired. But this concept could have been cooked up by the minds at A&D. It's one of those types of things. I'm actually glad it's a scare zone. I don't want to really see this as a house, even though, like I said, it would be very good as a house, or the concept lends itself better to a house. I just don't like this property that much, so I'm happy that it's a scare zone. It could be a testing ground to see how audiences take to the scare zone. You know, maybe they want to do it as a house, because I'm not quite sure how the general public, you know, what their knowledge base is for Killer Klowns. I don't know how much they know. They probably know, like, you know, memes and things that have popped up, you know, especially some of the more youngster kids. But I'm not quite sure how much they know about the actual movie itself. So it could be, like I said, it could be one of those things where they're just kind of testing the waters to see, you know, exactly how people take to it. And maybe they'll bring it as a house next year, or maybe they'll bring it as a house later on down the line. The problem is that the description on the blog doesn't really give us a whole much. Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can mine from Killer Klowns to actually do as a scare zone. I think they had some kind of a parade at one point in the movie, if I remember correctly. You can do that, you know, because it lends itself. It's outside. It's got floats. It's got, you know, whatever. The other problem is that we don't officially know where this scare zone is going. I have ideas, and I've been told where the scare zone is going, but I don't exactly know if that space is going to be conducive enough to put parade floats and things of that nature. So my guess is that they're just going to have, you know, people running around. You have a couple of cotton candy props, because in the movie they turn humans into cotton candy because they love cotton candy, or they like to eat the humans as cotton candy. It's like their favorite treat. So that's kind of what I got from the blog. I didn't really see, you know, the actual description of Killer Klowns was just so bland. It was just like, oh, clowns, you know, they're chasing after you with these guns that want to turn you into cotton candy. So survive. But yeah, so I'm not quite sure how they're going to really do this as a scare zone, other than maybe it being like a roaming horde light, or not, excuse me, I said that backwards. A roaming horde sort of, you know, expanded a little bit, where it's kind of like a roaming horde, but they have like props and things, and it's kind of a set place. You know, the roaming hordes are kind of a set place, but this one will have like props and stuff with the Klowns running around with their little ray guns and crap. So I don't know. I really don't know how they're going to do this. And the description just sounded so unappealing. It was just like, hey guys, we got Killer Klowns. Killer Klowns is coming. Remember that movie? The one that you all wanted for years? Well, it's here, and it's coming as a scare zone. So I didn't really get a big enough vibe from the description for me to go, okay, well, let me put my bias aside and go, this could be really something special. Well, really, I didn't get any of that. So it is what it is. But anyway, Killer Klowns from Outer Space is coming as a scare zone. Now for our last scare zone of the year. This one might be a little bit controversial because some of the fans, the diehard fans, really don't like this character coming to the event. They think he's overused. They think, it's so generic and it's kind of, whatever. And that is Revenge of Chucky, the Revenge of Chucky. Now, Chucky is coming to the event in his own full-fledged scare zone. We haven't really seen Chucky. I mean, he was in the die-in, of course, in 2015, but we really haven't seen him in an expanded role at Halloween Horror Nights since 2009, when he had the Friends to the End. Was it Friends to the End? Was that anyone in the house? So I don't really get the whole vibe that like he's overused. Universal, I'm surprised they don't use him more actually, because he's a Universal property. So I'm really surprised they don't bring him to the event a lot more. Obviously, out in Hollywood, he had a huge run where Chucky was in the Insult Emporium, but of course, sensitivity and stuff like that. Insult Emporium got ripped aside. But yeah, I actually am looking forward to this because based on the things that I've heard about this scare zone and the stuff that I've heard over the last month or so, 2 months or so, really actually have me interested in this. Like what they're planning, it's a toy fair that, Chucky has possessed sort of the toys that are in there and they're, coming to get you. And of course, Chucky wants in on the action as well because that's what he does. But some of the details that I've heard, I'm going to keep those under wraps for now, but some of the details that I've heard about the scare zone actually have me a little bit excited. Now that is all a caveat to the fact of if they do what I'm being told. Like if the plans that I'm being told, hi Lexi, if the plans follow through to what I'm being told, then yeah, this thing could actually be something quite unique and quite special, especially given that it's Chucky. Chucky sort of doing his own scare zone. Some people might not think of that, oh my God, Chucky is a scare zone. How do you do that? Like we had the actors in the costumes, in 2015, and of course we had the actors in the costumes in the house. I know some people don't like the masks and, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So it's, how do you really do this? And some of what I'm being told, could work. It could be more akin to what they wanted to do with Chance back in 2016, but just didn't have the space or room to do it. There's kind of a little vibe in there from what I'm being told. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. If those plans still stay true and stuff. I love the character of Chucky. When I was a kid, the first movie scared the crap out of me, and it still kind of does. It's still a really good series. There's a lot of, the first movie is obviously really good. The second movie is okay. Third movie is kind of whatever. And I love Bride of Chucky, and I think Seed of Chucky, as dumb as it is really good. But the last two films have actually been very good. The Cult of Chucky, and then what was the other one? Curse of Chucky. Those two movies were actually really good. And the last movie kind of lends itself to this scare zone. There's a lot of stuff in this scare zone that could kind of tie into the whole mythology that they've set up in that last film. And then, of course, now they announced there's going to be a TV show on the way. So, I can't wait to see what they do here. So I think that's it, guys. So we have all our scare zones. So we have the Revenge of Chucky. We have Killer Klowns. We have Twisted Tradition. Keep wanting calling it Traditions. We have The Harvest. And we have Vamp 85. So those are our 5 scare zones. All scare zones have been announced. I think at this point we have a little bit of a break in terms of the announcements. I don't think you'll see anything until July. Probably sort of mid-July. Somewhere around there. I don't want to go too far, but there might be some shared properties in there. So keep your eye out for that. But no more scare zones. They haven't officially said, but I do not expect another show to be announced. That is just based off of what I'm being told. I think we're just going to have one show, so one show and 5 scare zones. And of course, we have 6 more houses left to go. We have less than 80 days, I think, at this point to go before the event, so it's rapidly approaching. We're getting close. We're about like a month and a couple days away from from all the stuff being started putting the Scare Zone stuff being put out in the streets. Of course, it's usually the August, late August that all the stuff starts being put out. So yeah, so that's it, guys. You actually do get an edited video from me today. Haha. I think that's it, and I will talk to you on the next announcement, guys. See you later. Oh, one other thing is that I wanted to rep. I do have, or have started a small little t-shirt place where you can pick up all your HHN Legacy gear to make all your friends jealous. If you want to go there, I'll put the link, the description down below, or in the description down below. You can go there and buy your HHN Legacy t-shirt and some other stuff. This is weird for me. I usually don't, pimp my stuff, but if you can do that, then go ahead and do that. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. I'll talk to you later.